Good morning.
Friday morning.
The rainy streets of New York City.
Yes.
Doesn't this remind us of the Studio 54 days? This song was on in the 70s, and we would just dance all night.
Well, yeah.
we would be on.
The only reason you stay up all night is because you have morning TV. Have you ever been to a club?
Well, you were a Good Morning America then.
Yeah, I was watching. Can I just say one quick thing?
Yeah.
I think you're picking the wrong side between the Freedom Caucus and the President of the United States. I really believe so. Well, I mean, I think you're overly sympathetic to these 40 Congress members who are doing everything they can to stab their party's president, our president, in the back. I mean,
I think we're being referees, actually.
But the thing is, when you have 40 Republicans who stand for nothing, the president can pass nothing unless it's about just saying no. What do they stand for, the Freedom Caucus? You have to compromise with health care.
No, but you know what they say. They say we ran on complete repeal and replace, and this was way short.
Well, you know,
That's what they say. But going forward, we got to do something.
Repeal is easy. Replace, you got to replace it with something. What the president and Paul Ryan and the heart of the Republican Party did was craft a bill where fewer people got benefits, but money was saved for the deficit. That's what Republicans stand for. Save money. It was $250 billion over a decade, right? $250 billion saved to the deficit. That was a compromise. It's painful because people lose services, but on the other hand, you keep the promise of lessening the deficit. And what is there any health care legislation whatsoever that gives health care to poor people that the Freedom Caucus would support? I submit there is none.
Well, let's see where it all goes, because the president has been tweeting. And, in fact, this morning he was tweeting about Mike Flynn.
He wrote, Mike Flynn should ask for immunity and that this is a witch hunt. Excuse for big election loss by media and Dems of historic proportion. Geraldo, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that the president is wrong on this issue to this extent. I think that Mike Flynn really has some vulnerability. Perhaps he is the main perpetrator, certainly is the person most vulnerable. Why? It is never the crime. If Donald Trump picks up the phone and he's talking to Vladimir Putin during the election campaign, hey, Vlad, you know, I hear you got some of that great stuff. You know, it'd be terrific. Next couple of weeks you release it. Donald Trump hangs up the phone and he says, I love WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks. Is that collusion? Is that a crime? I don't think so. But
well, also, that never happened.
Well, it wouldn't be a crime. I don't think it's a crime, even if it did happen.
It just happens in the normal course of reaching out to the foreign government.
It's never the crime. It's always the cover-up.
The lying to the FBI.
We know for a fact that General Mike Flynn, who was dismissed as Defense Intelligence Agency head.
Because he was trying to do his job, and Barack Obama didn't like that.
Well, regardless, he came to Donald Trump with a real chip on his shoulder, was a lock her up, a very vigorous campaigner, and we know he lied to Vice President Pence about the nature of his communications with the Russian ambassador. That's why he resigned from the NSA
But he had also apparently misspoken about what he remembered about the FBI.
When you remember that rule, it's never the crime, it's always the cover-up. Did he, as he lied to Vice President Pence, also lie to the FBI? Because even if he's not under oath and you lied to the FBI at the same time you were lying to the Vice President, you're in deep trouble.
But it's not against the law to lie to the Vice President.
It's not against the law to lie to the Vice President.
It is against the law to lie to the FBI. Ask Martha Stewart.
Exactly. Ask Oliver Northour, your colleague back in the Iran-Contra days, back in the 1980s.
So you're saying if he comes out and he tells them exactly what he knows, then they're going to put two and two together and realize in the past he had lied to the FBI?
No. What I'm saying is, why is General Flynn asking for immunity? That's the issue.
Right.
Why does he want immunity
We don't know. Why?
from prosecution? He wants immunity from prosecution because he has a good lawyer who understands the peril that General Flynn is under. What is the peril that General Flynn is under? He lied to the Vice President. Did he also lie to the FBI? Now that's a real serious federal crime, lying to the FBI, even if you're not under oath. So he asks.
Where are you getting that, though? Why do you think he lied to the FBI? We haven't heard that.
We don't know. We know for a fact that he lied to Vice President Pence because everybody, including the President of the United States. So if he's lying to Vice President Pence, he talked to the FBI. Did he tell the FBI one story and Vice President Pence another story? I think that's unlikely. What is likely is he's vulnerable now. he may be the most vulnerable of all the players involved, including the President of the United States. So his lawyer is asking for immunity
Yeah, but nobody's
from
taking him
criminal
up on it.
prosecution.
Nobody's taking him up on it.
And nor will they, because he may be the principal and only perp.
Right, yeah, because you always tell us that you don't give someone immunity unless you want something bigger, and he might be the biggest in this investigation.
And you know what's going to happen? He's not going to get immunity. He's going to be dragged before these congressional committees, and he's going to plead the Fifth Amendment. Okay. So now you're going to see General Mike Flynn, the former NSA, pleading the Fifth Amendment. It's going to be an ugly scene, and people better get ready for it.
All right, so let's talk about something else without getting people's eyes rolling into their head. This Devin Nunes is chairman of the House Oversight Committee, and it turns out people...
was I too complicated in my explanation?
No, that was fine. I'm just changing gears.
Well, your eyes were rolling.
Right, no, my eyes were rolling because I don't concentrate well. But let's just talk about Devin Nunes. What he did a couple of days ago was go over to the White House, it seems, the Eisenhower building perhaps, and was able to look at information that perhaps revealed that the Trump organization was being surveilled on some level, nothing to do with Russia, but he couldn't produce the paperwork. They were upset that Adam Schiff, the ranking member, wasn't part of this. So now we have investigations from the Washington Post and New York Times that reveals that 3 people, they say, helped him. Ezra Cohen, NSC lawyer John Eisenberg, and Mike Ellis. There's a lot of people who have pushed back on that. So Nunes sees this. Now the White House reached out and says, Adam Schiff, you want to come over and see this too? Now we're focusing on process. What I think is fascinating is what they found out, that perhaps Trump Tower was surveilled and the president's dialogue was picked up.
As I said on this couch, it's now 3 weeks ago, it is inevitable that there was incidental collection. Inevitable. Some Americans' names were picked up as they were surveilling the Russians because they knew the Russians were meddling with our elections. So I think that we have established that Trump was, in a general sense, correct in his tweet that the Obama administration surveilled or wiretapped the Trump Tower. In broad strokes, he can make an argument. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. The White House has the proof of the incidental collection. Right. So I'm in the White House. I've got the proof. Why doesn't the White House say, OK, America, here's the proof of the incidental collection? That's not what they did. They had the proof, and instead of releasing it to the people, they had Nunes come over to the White House and said, here, you release it and make it seem as if it's yours. And that's where the problem is. Why this cutout? Why are they going through these gymnastics to make it look as if an independent legislator came up with the evidence that the executive branch, the White House, had?
I don't know that we don't know for sure whether or not these people who have been listed are actually the whistleblowers. We know in one case, one of the guys worked with Devin Nunes over at the House Oversight Committee, and so maybe Nunes said, hey, I got a whistleblower, and I need to look at your supercomputer over at the White House. There are too many dots that
you don't go to the White House.
Well, you can't do it
What's he doing on the White House grounds?
Geraldo, could it be?
That's where he worked.
He went to the White House. He didn't go to the White House grounds to look at the cherry blossoms. He went to the White House grounds to get this document that he would then pretend he came up with independent.
Could it be because the House Intelligence Committee carries more weight? They don't want to release this information because it's about themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So they're handing it to them to release so that they're taken out of it.
Yes.
Would you agree with
that? But that's sleazy. That's sleazy, if not
Why?
illegal.
Because the American people might say, oh, of course Donald Trump's team is going to release that information. We don't believe it because that's Trump's team. But if it comes from, if the House Intelligence Committee says, yes, wow, that is shocking, that's damning evidence, we're going to release it, then that carries more weight.
You know, once you start lying and twisting and manipulating,
lying,
you get caught.
Who do you think is lying?
I think Nunes pretty clearly misrepresented the source of his information.
If
he made
the New York
it seem
Times is right.
as
If the New York Times is right.
I don't think anything Nunes has said contradicts it now.
Well,
I think
Nunes is agreeing.
Nunes is saying now he did get the information from sources on the White House grounds, which by definition makes them a White House official, by the way.
No. You are connecting these people who are listed as being the people who were the whistleblowers.
It doesn't matter. Who was it? The janitor in the White House grounds?
What if somebody else in the federal government gave them the information at the White House grounds?
Geraldo, does it really matter where you get the information? What about the information itself? If they were surveilling Trump's team,
Remember
that
when
is
we used to
wrong.
like
It's illegal.
whistleblowers?
I absolutely agree with you.
Right.
The incidental collection, the surveilling of Trump's campaign and his transition,
is illegal.
and his the campaign and the transition. Forget about illegal or not illegal. It apparently happened. We have now pretty certain information that Trump was incidentally collected. Trump or his associates or his associates were incidentally collected. But Nunes, as the head of the House Intelligence Committee, has a certain aura of authority. They wanted to give him the information so it would have the color of his authority as he released it. They cut themselves out and now got caught, and now it looks bad for the president. Very sloppy, very heavy-handed. If at first you practice to deceive, and all the rest.
Geraldo, I think we have to agree that we don't know everything. We're counting on two sources, Washington Post and New York Times, who are out to destroy this president. So let's just wait. I think if we're still on speaking terms,
Nunes has pretty much admitted that he got that stuff from the White
at 3
House.
p.m. today, let's just see if we still think the same thing.
All right. Geraldo, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geraldo.
I'm circles and circles and circles and then circles.
I'll see you on radio.